As I said, we're hearing a very familiar passage, which means sometimes we just don't hear it at all. And it is for us a passage that we've really domesticated. We've kind of taken the cross and made it into something very beautiful. I have all kinds of beautiful crosses all over my home. And we've forgotten that in Jesus' time, the cross was it was a symbol of humiliation and torture, reserved really for the poor and the despised. Tens of thousands of people were crucified. It wasn't just Jesus. And today it would be sort of like wearing a noose around her neck or maybe a electric chair. And the disciples, they couldn't imagine Jesus dying on a cross. That wasn't at all what they had in mind when they were looking for a Messiah who would redeem their world and conquer the Romans and set them up. And they didn't want any part of that. It's something that I think we really struggle with too, with really standing in the places of extreme brokenness. So, since it is so familiar, I wanted us to hear just another clip from Danielle Ponder, who we saw at the start of worship and who I'm going to reference in the sermon. She's a public defender there in Rochester, and she works with people who can't afford an attorney, and very much like the people Jesus worked with and cared for and lived with and died with. So let us hear just a moment of this as we enter into the time of Scripture.
Did the crime pay more than time, time and time and time again? Land of laws for the darker man, freedom comes too slow. I could give up if the blood wasn't in me. I could give up if my soul wasn't with me. I'm pressing on, one day I'll see the sun. Oh, I'm calling out to the heart of this land. Who's gonna listen to a poor man's pain? And I'm reaching out again to anyone with the will to understand.
Then Jesus began to teach them that the Son of Man must undergo great suffering and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He said all this quite openly, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and looking at his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." Jesus called the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life?"